Hello students, my name is Mamta Bhardwaj and I'm working with Chandigarh University. So today we are going to do a topic from logical reasoning section and the name of the topic is direction sense. An important topic is this. So what we are going to learn in this topic is what are directions, how many kind of directions are there, and the concept of shadow and the concept of rotation of angles, correct map versus the wrong map, and how you can find out the shortest distance and the directions of the hands in the clock. So let's start doing the topic with the help of PPT. So let me share the PPT. Direction sense. The topic is direction sense. So we are going to cover up the concept of direction and the cardinal directions, the right and the left directional movements, and the concept of shadow, the correct map versus the wrong map, directions in clocks, concept to find the shortest distance, and the rotation of angles. So we will cover up all these concepts one after the another. So what is direction? Directions are used to determine where things are in related to the other things. Or we can say direction is the information contained in the relative position of one point with respect to the another point without the distance information. So directions, it may either relative to some inclined references or absolute according to some previously agreed upon the frame of references. So how many directions are there? So mainly there are four directions, that is north, east, south, and west. So what are the cardinal directions? So there are four cardinal directions: northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest. So the direction in between north and east is known as northeast, and the direction between south and east is southeast. Direction between south and west is southwest, and the direction between north and west is northwest. So the direction of the top of the page is always considered as the north unless specified in the question. So by default, we have to assume the top of any direction as the north direction if it is not given in the statement. So next is the right and the left directional movement. The right and the left movement of a person is always with reference to the body moving in the scenario. It is not with respect to the person who is solving the question, right? So as let's take the example, Mr. Deepak walks 5 kilometers towards south and then turn to the right hand side. So we need to assume the right of Mr. Deepak and around the direction towards he is moving, not we have to move according to our left or right, right? So after walking 3 kilometers, he turns to left and walk 5 kilometers. So what direction is he facing right now? So initially, Mr. Deepak walks 5 kilometers towards south. So as we can see, this is north, south, east, and west. Right hand side, if we are facing north, we are in direction south and we are facing north. So towards our right hand side, there is east, and towards our left hand side, there is west. So Mr. Deepak walks 5 kilometers towards the south direction, 5 kilometers toward south, and then turn to the right. And after walk 3 kilometers, he turned to left and walk 5 kilometers. It means this is the initial point. He walked 5 kilometers towards south. And when he's at point B, he turns to the right hand side, right? So not assume your right as that person's right and your left as that person's left. So you need to check. If a person is facing north, only then your right will be that person's right and your left will be that person's left for the very first time when the person is facing north. And in the initial point when the person is facing south, so it your left becomes that person's right and your right hand side becomes that person's left hand side. So now he turns the right hand side and walk 3 kilometers and then turn to the left, again left, and walk 5 kilometers. So what is the direction he is facing now? Again, he is facing the south direction because he is facing towards this direction. And this is the south direction. So he is facing south direction. Do the next one. Soumya walked 20 meters towards the north and then she turned right and walked 30 meters. Then she turns right and walks 35 meters. And then she turned left and walks 15 meters. And finally, she turns left and walks 15 meters. So in which direction and how many meters is she from the starting position? So first of all, Soumya walked 20 meters towards north. So this is the north direction and 20 meters towards north. Then she turned right and walked 30 meters. So your right becomes Soumya's right because initial she is facing north and walk 30 meters. Then she turns right and walks 35. Now she's turning right and walk 35. Then she turned left and walks 15 meters. Now at this point, she is facing south direction. It means your right hand side becomes that person's left hand side. And then she turns left and walk 15. 50. Finally, she turned left and walked 15. Again left and walked 15. And which direction and how many meters she is from the starting position? So her starting position was here and final position here. So as we can see, this is north, south, west, and this is east. If this distance is 30, so this will be 30. And if this distance is 15, this will also be 15. So 30 plus 15, it will give us 45 meters. And which direction? East. So she is 45 meters in the east direction from the starting point. So option D comes out to be the answer, which is 45 meters east. I hope the question is clear. Now we will do the concept of shadow. So do remember, shadow is always opposite to the direction from where the light comes. As we can see at the time of sunrise. So in which direction sun rises? Sun rises in the east direction. So when the sun rises in the east direction, at that time, our shadow becomes in the west direction, opposite to the direction where light comes. And in the evening, when the sun sets in the west direction, our shadow becomes in the east direction. And remember, exactly at 12 noon, there is no shadow because the rays are vertically downward. So there is no shadow at 12 noon. So sun rises here in the east direction and sunset is in the west direction. And if this is east, so if a person is standing facing a pole or facing in the north direction at the time of sunrise, so his or her shadow will be in the west direction, means towards his or her left hand side. So there are some points to remember in the morning time and when the sun rises. If a person facing towards sun, the shadow will be towards his back or in the west direction, that is in the opposite direction. If the person is facing south, right? So his shadow will be in the right hand side. And if a person facing towards west, the shadow will be towards his front. And if a person facing north, the shadow will be towards his left. And this will happen in the morning time when the sun rises. So do remember these points. Let's take one example. One morning after sunrise, Nandita and Ravi, they were sitting in a lawn with their backs towards each other. Nandita's shadow fell exactly towards her left hand side. So which direction was Ravi facing? At the time of sunrise in the morning, Nandita and Ravi were sitting in a lawn with their backs towards each other. Backs, they are in opposite direction, right? Towards each other. Nandita's shadow fell exactly towards her left hand side. Nandita's shadow. Let's say this is north, this is south, east, and west. So direction of shadow becomes in the west direction because at this time of sunrise. So Nandita's shadow fell exactly towards her left hand side. Her left hand side. It means Nandita's shadow towards her left hand side. So Nandita is sitting here and facing north because left hand side of the north direction is the west direction. So Nandita is facing north and Ravi should be facing south because they both are sitting in a lawn with their backs towards each other. So Ravi is sitting here facing south and Nandita is sitting here facing north. So we have to find out the direction was Ravi facing. So Ravi was facing south direction. So south comes out to be the answer. Let's try one more question. So one morning after sunrise, Praveen and Pankit, they were talking to each other face to face at Monarch Luxuries. Morning after sunrise. It means north, south, east and west. The sun rises here and the shadow of the person, it will be here. So if Pankit's shadow was exactly to the right of Praveen, Pankit's shadow will be exactly to the right of Praveen. So west is on the right of south. It means Pankit and Praveen. So the person who is facing south, its right hand side is west. And the person who is facing north, its left hand side is the west side. So Pankit's shadow was exactly to the right of Praveen. Shadow of Pankit will be exactly to the right of Praveen. So where Praveen is sitting and where the Pankit is sitting. So Pankit's shadow was exactly to the right of Praveen. As I have told you, the person who is facing south, his shadow will be in his right hand side, right? In his right hand side. So west is in right hand side of this, the person who is facing south. It means Pankit's shadow was exactly to the right of Praveen. It means Pankit shadow, Pankit's shadow is this, and that is on the right hand side of Praveen. It means Praveen is facing this direction, south. Praveen is facing south direction and Pankit is facing north direction. So we have to find out which direction Pankit was facing. So Pankit was facing north direction. As we have already discussed, the person who is facing south, his shadow will be on his right hand side. And the person who is facing north, his shadow will be in the left hand side, because shadow becomes in the west direction. So Pankit's shadow was exactly to the right of Praveen, the right hand side of Praveen. It means Pankit is on this side, standing this side, and Praveen is standing this side. So shadow of Pankit on the right hand side of Praveen. Shadow of Pankit, that is on the right hand side of Praveen. It means Praveen is facing south and Pankit is facing north. To next one. Let's try to do the next concept, that is the correct map versus the wrong map. So this section involves the comparison of two maps between which one is definitely wrong, and one has to find the correct direction in the wrong map by applying logical analysis. So let's take the example. At a crossing, there was a direction pole which was showing all the four correct directions. But due to the wind, it turns in such a way that now west pointer is showing the south. So Harish went in the wrong direction, thinking that he was traveling to east. So in what direction he was actually traveling? So actually, in the correct map, there is north, south, east, and west. But due to the wind, it turns in such a manner that now west pointer is showing south. This west pointer is in the south direction. And this becomes north, this becomes south, and opposite to west becomes east. So now, in what direction he was actually traveling if he wants to go in the east direction? Harish went in the wrong direction, think he was traveling east. So east is this direction, but now he's in south direction. So answer, it should be south. The next concept, correct map versus the wrong map. This section involves the comparison of two maps between which one is definitely wrong, and one has to find the correct direction in the wrong map by applying the logical analysis. So at a crossing, there was a direction pole which was showing all the four directions, correct directions. But due to the wind, it turns in such a manner that now the south pointer is showing the west. And Harish went in the wrong direction, thinking that he was traveling east. So in what direction he was actually traveling? Now the south pointer shows west. So if this shows west, so west ke opposite it becomes east, and north, and here it is south. Now if he is going in the east direction, as he is assuming he is going in the east direction, but due to this incorrect map, in what direction he was actually traveling? So he was actually traveling in the south direction, because in the correct map, this is south. So do a question. If southwest becomes north, northwest becomes east, and so on. So what will south become? So in the actual map, we know that this is north, south, east, and west. Southwest becomes north. South and west. It means this becomes north. So opposite of north is south. And on the left hand side of north is east. And this becomes west. So what will south becomes? What will south becomes? So this is in the correct map, south is here. But now, as this direction is in between north and west, so this becomes northwest. This direction becomes northwest. So northwest is the correct answer. Now, south becomes northwest in the incorrect map. Do next. Directions in clock. The direction in which the number 12 exists was considered as the node for the reference, and all the remaining directions were marked accordingly. Hence, the numbers 3, 6, and 9, they were considered to be east, south, and west, respectively. Let's take one example. A clock is so placed that at 2 p.m., the minute hand points towards northwest. So in which direction does the hour hand points at 6 p.m.? 2 p.m. So this is 3 and this is 12. Let's say 1 and 2. So at 2 p.m., the minute hand points towards northwest. So minute hand will be at this place. It means this is the north. So in which direction does the hour hand points at 6 p.m.? So 6 p.m. So this is northwest. It means if this is northwest, between north and west. So this is between north and west. It means if this is north, this is west, right? And it will be east, it will be south. So between south and east at 6 p.m., the hour hand shows southeast direction. So southeast. So at 6 p.m., hour hand shows southeast direction. Let's do one question. If 9 o'clock in a watch displays minute hand towards the northeast direction, again we will make the dial of the clock. So 9 o'clock, minute hand points towards the north. So this is the minute hand. It pointed north, northeast, not north, the northeast. Then the hour hand will point towards, so this hand. So again, this is between north and east, and this is east. Okay, opposite is west. So 9 is between north and west direction, right? So it means our hand points towards northwest direction at 9 o'clock when the minute hand points towards northeast direction. So northwest is the correct one. Now we are going to do the concept of how you can find out the shortest distance. So if you have to find out the distance, always try to find out the shortest distance if possible. So how you can find out the shortest distance? We'll make the right angle triangle. Here hypotenuse, base, and perpendicular are there. So by using the Pythagoras theorem, we can find out the longest side as the square root of this sum of the square of both these sides, base and perpendicular. So let's take one example. A child went 90 meters in the east to look for his father. Then he turned right and went 20 meters. After this, he turned right, and after going 30 meters, he reached to his uncle's house. So his father was not there. From there, he went 100 meters to his north and met his father. So how far did he meet his father from the starting point? So again, we have to check the direction. So a child went 90 meters in the east direction. So 90, if we assume this is as the initial point, so 90 meters in the east, he turned right and went 20, turned right and went 20, then again turned right, and after going 30 meters, he reached his uncle's house. So at point D is his uncle's house. His father was not there. From there, he went 100 meters to the north in this direction. Then he reached at point E and he met his father there. So how far did he meet his father from the starting point? So this is the starting point. So we need to find out this shortest distance. Shortest distance. A to B, the total distance is 90. And from C to D, if this is 30, it means we are left with this 60. So 60 this base, 100 is the perpendicular. Now we can find out AE by using the Pythagoras theorem, and we will get the answer as again 100 meters. So he made 100 meters away from the starting point to his father. Let's practice one question. Ram started walking towards north, and after walking 5 meters, he turned to the right. As the person is moving, walking towards north, so our right hand side becomes that person's right, where he walked 8 meters. And before he took the left turn, he walked 5. He turned to right, where he walked 8 meters before he took the left turn. Now he walked for 5 meters on left. He walked for 5 meters and took the right turn. Right. And he walked for 4 meters and finally stopped after turning to his right to add additional 5. Again 5 meters. So at what distance he is from the starting point? And this was the starting point, and this was the final point. So as we can see, we can find out this distance. This is the shortest distance. So we can join this. So 8 distance from this point to this point, and from here to here, the distance is 5 meters. No, this distance is 5. So as this distance is 4 meter, this is again 4 meters. So 8 plus 4, it comes out to be 12. And this distance is 5. We need to find out the shortest distance. So it will be the square of the sum of these sides. First of all, square of the sum of these sides, it will be 144 plus 25, which is equal to 169. As this is the square root of both of these sides, so we need to find out the square root of 169, which comes out to be 13 meters. So at what distance he is from the starting point? So he's 13 meters away from the starting point. So 13 is the correct answer. Next is the concept of the rotation of angles. Concept of rotation of angles. For right direction movement, that is in the clockwise direction. If a person is moving right hand side, that is in the clockwise direction. And for left direction movement, we will consider it as the anti-clockwise direction in this way. So do one example. A girl facing north rotates 100-degree clockwise, then 190 degrees anti-clockwise. So what is the new direction of the girl? So first, the girl facing north and rotates 100-degree clockwise in this way, 100-degree clockwise. And then she rotate 190-degree anti-clockwise direction. So she again rotate 190-degree anti-clockwise, means more 90-degree anti-clockwise direction, means west direction. So the direction of the girl is now west direction. See what you need to do. Clockwise and anti-clockwise ka difference. You just need to find out the difference between the clockwise and the anti-clockwise direction. So it comes out to be 90-degree anti-clockwise. So from north direction, 90-degree anti-clockwise direction, it will be west direction. So the answer comes out to be west. So we will do one example. A horse is facing north. It turns 90 degrees in the clockwise direction, then 180 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction. Facing north, 90-degree clockwise and 180-degree anti-clockwise, and again another 90-degree in the same direction, means the in anti-clockwise direction. So total, how many degrees he has rotated in the anti-clockwise direction, that is 270 degrees. And how much he has rotated in clockwise direction, that is 90. So it remains 180-degree anti-clockwise direction. 180-degree anti-clockwise direction. He is facing south direction. So south is the answer. Now do one last question. So read the following information for the answers. The question that follow: on a playing ground, A, B, and C, and D, and E, they are standing as described below, facing the north. So B is 50 meters to the right of D. B is 50 meters to the right of D. Let's say this is D and 50 meters is B on the right hand side of D. So we will assume they all are facing north. A is 60 meters to the south of B. South of B, 60 meters. Here is A. C is 40 meters to the west of D. So west of D is this, and C is here at 40 meters away. And E is 80 meters to the north of A. So this is 60 and plus 20 meters. E. Now the question is, if a boy walks from C, meets D, means covered 40, meets D, followed by B, means 50, A and E. So from here, A is 60 and A to he has to go E. Again, he has to cover this 60 and 20. So how many meters he walked if he has traveled the straight distance through the given points? So 90 and 140. It will be equal to 230 kilometers. It means boy has covered 230 kilometers as the total distance. So I hope these concepts are clear to you all. So this is all about today's session, everyone. So I hope you have learned a lot from today's session, as we have discussed the different kind of directions, cardinal directions, left hand as well as right hand movement. And we have also discussed the directions in clock and concept of shadow and concept of shortest distance, and we have also discussed the rotation of angles. So thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Wish you very good luck.